I'm sorry, right over there it is, the curve. Yeah. Gonzales is right down there. This map pretty much shows the extent of the floodplain area, the 1% chance peaking out at Gonzales. And earlier it was said that there's some indication that some of these properties here, because of their elevation, might actually be removed in the final map. But generally, this is the flow path through the gap and into the area. So what are we doing about it? The district will be going to the Board of Supervisors at our June 2nd meeting with a request for a rough order of magnitude, $1 million engineering and environmental study to determine how do we certify what's there and how best to plug the gap. The other complication on the gap is the El Rio drain, which is this red line here, currently empties into the river, but when you close this gap, you have to deal with this flow. So there'll have to be a pump system to allow that to happen. So that reason, the length, and the sensitive species that exist in certain parts of the river all require a balancing act, which translates into time, which translates into money. So the district will be asking the Board of Supervisors, through its current resources, to authorize roughly on order of magnitude $1 million in environmental design engineering and problem-solving studies, which will end up with a more refined estimate of what's the best project alternative to close the gap and certify the remainder, what is the most cost-effective solution, get us a better estimate of what we cost. We're using now as a rough planning level order of estimate that in order to effect this fix, it's something on the order of 25 to 30 million. So we'll have that refined as we conclude these studies. The city of Oxnard and the district have jointly pledged to develop cost-sharing arrangements to, when we get the design complete, eventually how are we going to have to come up with the money to build it. And that's going to be likely a combination of local, state, federal, and other resources. Go ahead, please. This is just essentially just identifying the reaches that are on that previous, you know, there are 4 different reaches. There is a section that may not technically be a levee per 44 CFR 6510, which may be good or bad depending upon how we can best advantage the resources and ensure the protection. But it's not that important at this point in time because we're looking at that entire area as a problem to address. Go ahead, please. And then, as I said, the gap is the key area where the flow currently now gets to properties. So that's what we have to address. Go ahead, please. All right, what are our next steps? We're going to ask the board to approve this engineering study and action plan. The objectives are we certainly want to certify what's there. We want to identify, evaluate, and rank solutions to close the gap. We've got to address the environmental work that's necessary, and that's a combination of initial study and whatever the appropriate CEQA document. We have to prepare preliminary and final design plans, construction specification documents for the preferred alternative that's chosen as a result of the processes we go through the first 3 or 4 bullets. As I indicated, our planning level estimates in the order of magnitude of 30 million. It's going to be about a 2+ mile stretch that this project will encompass. Once it links up to the end of SCR3, it'll be, or excuse me, SCR1, it'll be the longest levee system in the district's entire inventory countywide. And as I said, we plan on going to the board on the 2nd of June, requesting authorization, and we are partnering and working very aggressively with federal, state, and other project funders on this matter. For your information, Congresswoman Capps' office is fully engaged on this, and certainly any assistance and support you can feel you'd help us with, that would be much appreciated because we're all in this together. Go ahead, please. Now I want to conclude by our website, and my colleague Gabe is going to actually able to live link on this. It's very important for us to be in communication with all of you countywide. This is a dynamic county. Some of you may not be aware that Ventura County a couple years ago was identified as the most computer literate county in the entire world. It has the highest per capita computer literacy. So the world today communicates digitally. Our Board of Supervisors requires us to have an e-government policy, and so we've launched this website. And I'm going to take you through a quick tour of it, and it has its capacity. In general, this is the home page. We have across the top, we have a series of frequently answered questions that are generic in nature, and after each meetings like this, we populate them with additional ones. We have a very good search tool. You want to activate that? This search tool allows you to, it has the standard disclaimer language, because search tools are only as good as the precision of the data on which they are built and the technology that's there to support them. So we have to be sure that you understand the caveats. You're able to input your address or APN number to determine whether you're affected. And what I mean by affected, I want to make sure this is clearly understood at this point, is are you potentially behind one of these levies that are subject to certification? If so, you would be in the 1% annual chance floodplain. This isn't going to help you in terms of the Oxnard area because the SE3 levy is not being certified. However, we will have, as a result of this meeting, posted on there the updated maps that we showed you tonight. And then we will enhance the search tool feature. Go ahead. Go back up to the top. Oh, actually, just plug in an address just so you can show them how the hit and the miss works. So if you were to plug in your address and you were in, you would get this information, and again, pointing you to the resources that are necessary. So that has handled a lot of questions for us. If you're not in the levy, you'll get a slightly different message. Okay, again, pointing out various resources. If you'll go back up, please. Additionally, it's very important for us to have you understand that we are not only doing this for public safety purposes and flood insurance purposes, but it's got to pencil out. Taxpayer dollars and infrastructure investments are at stake here. So we have a significant levy library, go ahead, in which you can activate by general information all of the documents associated with our Board of Supervisors meetings. Just pick a few and then go to one of the levies, go to SCR1. You know, everything you're going to want is there. It's fully transparent, it's fully open. It's important that you all see this. It's important that you understand it. It's important that you help us if you have information that we have missed in our evaluation. Each levy, go to SCR1, please. Well, right, you can go actually down. Either way, however you want to go there. You can navigate it a couple different ways. What you're going to see is you're going to see just a box here that will tell you, and you can hover over this with your mouse. What those color-coded diamonds identify are the nature of issues related to the levies, which are not active now, but it does work directly off there. So you must have a technical glitch in your hookup through here. But in any event, the level of estimate of the cost, the improvements, the value of the land and improvements, privately owned residential commercial land protected by that levy, the flood damage protected by the levy, and the return on investment. This is my point about taxpayer efficiency and return on investment. So for every dollar that we invest in certifying this levy, we avoid $20 worth of flood damage. So it's a very good return on investment. It's important that it not only be done for safety and insurance, but taxpayers' money are spent wisely. You have the full download of the reports as we get each reports. Go ahead, keep going down to the graphics. You've got the report card, you've got the location maps, you've got the action plan, you've got the survey maps that were in the course of loading. So as we pass project milestones, or more significantly, we want to alert you to this fact. We'll post this information. And there are a variety of different resources. The two most important parts of this in terms of activity are our contact feature. You have a question, you'll just email us. We will get back to you with information directly. And then we will also, after each of these meetings, post questions and answers so that you can